Some of the struggles with the holidays involve the people we love the most and who love us the most. That can be our family, it could be our friends. And I think staying authentically ourselves at the holidays is a conversation we don't have often enough. And we are really, find ourselves at the holidays trying to maintain our values. We start to question values, we get put in uncomfortable situations, and this can open a real can of worms that we just aren't prepared to deal with because you're managing life, not ready to do shadow work and think about all this. But we're going to talk about that today. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. I am joined today by my good friend, my right hand here in TSE land, Naomie Harris. Hello, Naomi.
Hello.
It's
Good
so great to
morning.
see you. Yes, yes. Naomi is actually a longtime Sisters Enchanted community member, and Naomi now works with us here. She works with me behind the scenes and makes sure that we find people who would be interested and find a community here, interested in what we're doing, find community. And you're the one who's spreading the message of the Sisters Enchanted all around the internet universe, which is a wild undertaking. I will let Naomi introduce herself, but I got to tell you, Naomi's been working with us for over a year, and the job posting said something like, if running a marathon while riding a unicycle and juggling at the same time seems overwhelming to you, then this wouldn't be the right fit. So that right there, she said yes to that description and has worked here for a year, coming up on a year. And that should tell you a little bit about her personality. Right from the
Good
get-go.
description of the job too. So
There was some point in time over the last year that I looked at you and I was like, remember what was in that job description? I was not lying. It
no,
wasn't, that wasn't an overstatement. It was probably an understatement.
probably
Probably.
someday.
Some days. But that ought to tell you as much as you need to know about Naomi. But I will let Naomi, why don't you tell people a little bit about you? And we're talking about being authentically you during the holidays today. So give everyone a little rundown about who you are.
So I'm a long time Sisters Enchanted community member, as you said, and I was kind of stumbling around, lost in the woods, loved the witchy stuff, but kind of had to keep it undercover. I've got two girls. It caused some issues as they were growing up. And so I was kind of looking for, a new home. My husband kind of had inklings, but he's just kind of like, oh, that's my crazy wife. She does the things. And found Sisters Enchanted, went on a great journey to kind of just find my groove, and then decided, after some soul searching and some very eloquent words on your part, that I didn't want to stay where I was in California and work the job that I was working and do all the things that I was supposed to be doing, and that it just really didn't feel like the right thing for me. So we decided not to buy the house we were about to buy. We decided to go and travel for a while, and we sold all the things. And then my daughter dropped the bomb that after several years of trying, I was going to be a grandma. And so then we shifted again, and we did our traveling up until he was born. And then once he was born, we decided we wanted to hang out a little bit more, and moved from the road to Colorado, where we are now. And we're enjoying it and making plans for the future. And so we're going to just, go on and move to the East Coast next year, because that just seems like a really good plan. And as I was telling you, we're going to, do some new fishing, do some new exploring, perhaps, hang out with the gators, see what we
The
see.
gators. Naomi is one of the, okay, there's like people, because I know, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people. So I know some interesting people who I've met over the years on the internet. And I will say that Naomi is always surprises me with the things she says. what she's doing at any moment or how she spent her time or just anything that like I feel like there are so many aspects to you and so much to your personality and maybe it's the Capricorn in you or something and you kind of keep it like tidy, but every once in a while something starts to come out. Like, oh my goodness, plot twist. Naomi plot twist. Um yes, and you are everyone should I don't know, get into Naomi's energy because she made this decision to hit the road and that happened pretty quick for them and I was talking to Naomi before this and it's only it's still 2023 and already she's like yeah we're gonna go find a place to live in May, we're gonna sign the papers in July, done and dusted. And I'm like that's some manifesting energy right there. That is some
It,
energy.
you gotta always be looking towards what's going to feel good in the future. So
True. Well, speaking of what's going to feel good, let's talk about being authentically you during the holidays because if anyone's listening to this, chances are they have someone in their life who has some thoughts about their authentic self. And that could be challenging. And you have some great ideas about when you have family that you don't spend time with regularly or, kind of like this extra family, the bigger wide net of family. About how to remain authentically yourself and also just manage the energy of conversations and questions. So, one of the bits that I loved that you mentioned to me were being intentional about the interaction. Do you want to tell the people your wise words on that topic?
well, and I will say that I was sharing with Sarah that I am just about to be in this energy. So we've moved from California to Colorado. And because my grandson's about to turn 1, we have family that's coming in from out of town. And so this is very timely conversation because this is really what I'm doing right now to prepare for that. And so the big thing that I'm doing is setting an intention for how I want to feel while they're here, really thinking about how I want to feel in that visit, how I want to feel when I'm spending time with them, and then thinking about those goals that go along with that. So it's really important to me that we are focused on my grandson for this time that we're celebrating his, first year around the sun. And so when a conversation is going to shift out of that energy, then I've got to have backup plans. And one of the big backup plans that I have that I think will help me to navigate this is to continue to look at the things that we agree on or the things that are similar about us. And one of the things that of course will be similar about us is that we want Kevin to be filled with joy. And so I think if as we're interacting, that if we keep going back to that, then we're going to be in a safe zone for those conversations. And, I imagine that things will come up. I have family who they don't like that I like to wear black. I think black is very slimming. I don't know what the problem is with it. That conversation will undoubtedly come up. I like to eat things that some other people don't like to eat. That will undoubtedly come up. My room full of broomsticks and tarot cards is probably going to come up while you're visiting for the holiday.
Can I tell? Okay, I'm asking permission, but I have to tell the story in order to ask for permission. So I guess I'm
Okay,
not asking for
go for
permission.
it.
But the first time we met in person, I flew you to Florida for just
Mhm.
a real quick stint. And we were just going to make some plans and I don't know. I think it ended up really just being me brain dumping a lot of stuff and you being like, okay, I think maybe I caught some of that help. but, but it was great to get to know you too, because we hadn't met in person. But you have family members who were kind of sent on a covert operation mission to check on you and make sure that one, you weren't stolen by a crazy person on the internet, and two, also make sure that you weren't. This was like they're like just this what is happening here? Who
Yeah.
has taken Naomi and is she okay? And they like just came to just check on you while
Mhm.
you were there.
Well, yeah. I think there's a lot of stereotypes as soon as you break out a deck of tarot cards anywhere, even if it's just like hidden in your purse, there's a lot of stereotypes about that. And I think they were a little worried that Sarah had recruited me for some sort of cult. And I was like, I'm really just like eating desserts with her kids. And, and we're like coming up with cool graphics. Like, I don't know what you think is happening here. But yeah, I had to visit all the way
Yeah,
across the country just to make sure nothing
I know.
untoward was happening.
Like, I love this story because one, you're a grown woman. Like you are,
I'm like,
you're a
yeah, the
grown woman with a
gray hair
grown son.
grown.
You are a grown person and raised two kids successfully. Like you got life. But I love it is on the so this is a great spin too on family because on one hand it's like so frustrating when your family when you feel like it's a struggle to be authentically yourself and it's giving you anxiousness and you don't know what's going to happen and you're like over predicting and I love what
Oh
you said
yeah.
about just being intentional but then also on the other hand I mean these are people who love you enough that they sent like a spy mission to make sure that you had not bought into some murky water somewhere and like you're actually getting a paycheck and I'm like this is all
Yeah.
on the up and up and not some weird
Yes.
situation that you need rescuing from. And I think families like that. On the one hand, can I be myself? And on the other, these are people that are literally ready to come like take you back if they have to.
Yeah. Well, and you've got to find the love in that, right? I mean, there's a lot of love that goes into, putting together a mission across the country to make sure that I'm okay. And I'm a grandma. I am not like a young buck,
Like some 17-year-old I just snatched.
right? And so there's a lot of love there. So yes, I could take offense, or I could be like, aren't they cute? And should I mess with them and like tease at them a little? Probably.
Yeah. See, that's the part about Naomi that surprises me. She says things like that. Like, oh, that was a plot twist.
So, it comes up. It's still going to come up. And I think feeling confident to have those conversations and be like, what's your question? Tell me about your question. Because I'll
Yeah.
bet you their question has to do with a stereotype, not an actual fact.
Yes.
And also, some people aren't comfortable with that conversation and they just want to can I just survive? And I think
Mhm.
you have to feel that out for yourself. I'm a little feisty. So I'm a little past survival. I think I was probably survival a while ago before the Sisters Enchanted. And now I'm just like, come on, bring it on. Let's talk. Let's chat. Do you want me to do your cards?
That's what you really want, isn't it?
I know you're just kidding.
No, I love this because you definitely, I know that with different, and you have both, like two different groups of family coming in. So
Yeah.
it's an added dynamic because it is your grandson. So you've got
Mhm.
your family, son-in-law's family, just like all the different coming in here. And with the holidays, we find ourselves in those situations. And I think that you had mentioned finding the similarities and really focusing
Yeah.
on those things. And in this story I told about your family coming to make sure you weren't abducted, uh, I think you do always have the choice to just give people grace.
Mhm.
And what were we were at an event recently and somebody what was the phrase that woman used the
Oh,
generous assumptions,
yes,
which
generous
wasn't
assumption.
her phrase. I think she got it from Brene Brown or something. I don't know. That's not something we coined. Anyway, and I think you do have the choice to be intentional
Mhm.
with your thoughts, your feelings, being aware of the container that you're in, how long it's going to last for, and assuming the best.
Well, and you can even take it as, they're asking me this question because they love me. They're wanting me to maybe follow their tradition or their path because they they want me to find happiness. So you can see that. You can see, what, that's really nice of them to want me to find happiness and joy. And you can push back and say, I am finding
Mhm.
happiness and joy. Or you can say, thank you. Thank you. that's really nice of you to want me to be that happy. I appreciate that. And where's the salad? And just
Yes.
kind of, you know, I mean, you can't, and this is a perfect scenario that not every family is going to work that way, but you can walk into it hoping, hoping that you can use those generous assumptions, that you can use that similarity and how, you both want to have positivity in that interaction and try to work from that space, work from that energy,
Mm-hmm.
and give yourself permission to take a time out if it's not working. Bathroom's a great place to escape. You
It's
know,
true.
you just lock the door, just sit in there,
Yeah.
just hold tight for a minute until it passes.
Uh-huh. I've done that with my mother-in-law. I've definitely just gotten up, gone in the bathroom, and
Right?
just stood there.
So when I in my previous job in life, that was kind of our suggestion for parents who are, just you can lock yourself in the bathroom. Just
Yeah.
take a minute. It does a lot just to breathe in and out for a minute
Uh-huh.
to bring clarity. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you're face into shadow work at the holidays,
Mhm.
and you can prepare, do some shadow work even ahead of time. And I
Yes.
think that's what I've been doing, kind of looking at, okay, this is where my anxiety is coming from. This is the story. How can I
Mhm.
rewrite that story and, work from that angle
Yes.
and hope for the best.
So true. Using the different tools that you talked about being intentional. So that is really aligning your energy in advance to how you want to be creating your energetic space, taking a break when you need to reclaim your energy. That's something we talk about. You can just like visualize everybody else's stuff disconnecting from yours, coming
Mhm,
back into your own, like previously pre-doing the shadow work. How am I feeling? Where is it coming from? Realizing you do have agency in the matter. It's
mhm,
so weird, Naomi. It's almost like you could use our 5 eye spiral to prepare yourself for staying authentically you at the holidays. So if you don't know what that is, we teach it in a program, but there's an example of it in the most recent Stay Magic magazine. So you can check that out to get an example of that also. Uh, so what do we think about staying authentically you? We talked about being intentional, looking for the similarities, remembering that by and large, people mean well, even if their well meaningness is not helpful.
mhm,
And, you know, remembering it's a short period of time and what you're there for. What about being authentically you at the holidays when maybe you've journeyed on a path where things like tarot and maybe celebrating the seasonal festivals, the
mhm.
Sabbats like Yule, are on your radar, but the other people in your house are maybe not really. Like if I remember the first time I told my husband that we were gonna make some lanterns and go walk a spiral for the solstice, and he was like, um, "It's really cold out, and that seems like a dumb idea." So like that, or just gift giving wise, my husband grew up with lots and lots of gifts in his house on Christmas Day. And then for the first few years of our kids' lives, we did the same. But now I'm kind of like, wait, that's not in alignment with my values. Fewer gifts and more experiences. And that's been a journey. So I've experienced it in my own life where I've had to kind of say, like, okay, well, this is my belief and value at this
Mhm.
time of year. What are we going to do about this? Um, you have any words of wisdom or anything in your
Well,
life that you've seen?
I would say that, like, the joy of celebrating any winter tradition. Growing up, my mom's family was from Europe and my dad's family was from America. And so even the way that in their celebration of like the Christmas holiday was different. My mom does the Advent. My dad, did it like she does the Christmas Eve thing. He was like, no, it's all about Christmas Day. And so they had to like meld that together into a fantastic like month long fiesta of celebrations and candles. That's how I grew up, and how amazing that was for me.
Yeah.
And then, um, so I think that that has been the basis for me saying, hey, we already do this. Do you know that this also goes along with it? And we could have fun doing this new thing together. And also saying, wow, I was privileged that it was important that there were lots of gifts under a tree. It was very important, but it was very special when we got to open the everyday advent calendar. So I I acknowledge that and say, I really enjoyed this piece more. So we're gonna, as a family, focus our energy on that. And it took a long time to be able to let go of some of those traditions or to give space to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
So when my kids were little, I had to fill that under the tree. It was really important, and I had to make sure that on the second, week of December, we purchased that Christmas tree because that's when it was done,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like very scheduled so that we could fit all the things in. And
Uh-huh.
that didn't feel um, great the older my kids got. And so we just sort of said, hey, let's try this one this year. We we didn't say, no, I don't want to do that. Just let's try this one this year, and kind of just in that space. Sometimes people can be a little more accepting that you want to do something new.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to try something new. I had shared with you that, a lot of our traditions had to do with eating, and I wanted to try something different. And so we started bringing in, a series of weeks of crafting ideas, and not just focusing on the baking and the things. And not that that's not fun. And it slowly developed. And now my tradition of bringing that to the table, long since I've left California, they all still do the crafting around the holidays because that was something fun and something new. So I think as much as you want to, um, navigate that without breaking down someone's tradition, you also have to remember that your ideas for whatever you're celebrating bring something to the table, and it can help everybody to enjoy it more. It's a winter solstice walk for you, but maybe it's a different kind of walk for them, but you can walk the same. You can walk together with different purpose and just, you know, connect to whatever it feels right for whoever is walking with you. You can enjoy it together and still walk your own separate paths together.
Yeah.
Does that
So
make
much.
sense?
Yes. There's so much
Okay.
wisdom in there. I love so much of what you said because, and, uh, there, I think that when we are feeling like we can't be ourselves, we will reactively, this is very shadow worky of us, but we'll reactively actually crowd ourselves out more,
Mhm.
because we'll say like, oh, well, you don't approve of this thing. So now I'm alone and I can't do this with you because you don't respect me or something. And we just crowd ourselves out even more. And you mentioned making space for kind of all of the things. Like, yeah, I'd love to try your way of doing this. And I also want to try this way of doing, remembering that we don't all have to do everything, I think, in lockstep for the same reasons
Mhm.
all the time either. Lots of good wisdom there, my friend. Lots of good wisdom.
I I I think you made a very good point that sometimes we expect it to be a problem and we kind of create it in our minds, and then it sort of manifests itself right out there, for us to see. So try, if nothing else, try this year to expect something different and see if you can't manifest that to happen by expecting that, by bringing hope to the table and bring it a season of giving and sharing. It, 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 it really can be a benefit to everyone, no matter their belief system.
Yes, for sure. Oh, I love this so much. And if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I love to be able to just release the tension so that I can live this wise wisdom, because I think it is certainly a journey too, to get to a point where you're able to hold that yes and
Mhm.
Yes, you love doing it. We've always done it this way. And I'm interested in doing it this way. Or yes, I read tarot cards and you don't. And we can be okay together in the same room and still love each other. And of course, as a society, this applies to so many things that are bigger than tarot cards at a kitchen table, for goodness sakes.
Yes.
And it can feel really like you're giving, I think we can feel like we're giving up a part of ourselves if we're not being seen and validated for how we are in life. And also the in these times where you're going to be with people, learning to just realize that not everybody is you and you are not everybody. And yet we will be in the same space. And therefore, yes, and how do I adjust that energy? But that can be a real journey to be able to get to that point,
Oh,
even.
yeah.
Um, and we have so many resources to help. We've got a Heal Like a Witch podcast. We've got a
Oh,
shadow
yeah.
work video. Like we got so many things. So Naomi, due to the nature of what she does here, I'm sure will link up all of the
I will.
all of the amazing tools that we have to help you even
We'll get
get
you a
there.
holiday help kit that
Yeah.
and,
Oh my gosh.
if you want to sneak in, like, rubbing, your candles in a little bit of calming herbs that you set at the table, nobody's gonna say anything if you light a candle at the table, nor when you blow it out and release that energy. You just kinda, it's just
Yeah.
circling
Yep.
every little bit can help.
You just do it. You just do it. Uh,
Absolutely.
well, thank you for coming here and sharing your wisdom with us because it really there's some good pep talk in there, some good wisdom, and I think everything we all need to hear when we're feeling like we are this is good for any time of year when you're like, okay, I'm walking into a room of people who do not think the way I do and do not, may not approve of my choices, and how am I going to be in that room? And you gave us a lot of great wisdom for doing that.
Well, thank you
Mhm.
for inviting me.
Yes, and if it ever gets really bad, you can just like Naomi sent family to come take her back from me. You just line up your people who will come looking for you if they don't hear from you. It's always a good plan B.
Always, always.
Yeah, things go real sideways with your family. Who's going to come find you? Anyway, all right. Thank you again for Naomi for hanging out and having this conversation. And I'm so glad you came on the podcast.
Thank you. Happy
Mhm.
holidays.
Yes, yes. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Yule and Yule blessings and end of year blessings and all the holiday blessings and everything. So, we will have all of the various goodness resources we have for you linked up with this episode. We've got our free digital Stay Magic magazine, the winter edition, winter 2023. I guess it's like 23 into 2024 winter. Anyway, that
Yeah.
edition is available. Lots in there to help you celebrate the season in a way that is aligned with you and authentically aligned with the path you may be on. So you can find all of that. It'll all be linked up in all of the link places. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your year. And until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. There are new episodes every Tuesday. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.